Scarves and Spikes, Sydney, Tommy, Tyler shortly as Tommy, it is playoff season, but Atlanta
Who
United's not
cares?
in it. We care because it's playoffs, man. It's the MLS Cup playoffs, the greatest tournament on earth. Well, maybe not, but not as good as, I mean, you're a big Stanley Cup Finals fan or Stanley Cup playoffs fan, and I know you rate the Stanley Cup playoffs over the MLS Cup playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
More action, more intensity, more hitting, but MLS Cup playoffs, I mean, it has its flaws, but it can be a lot of fun as well. So we're not going to necessarily talk about that. We did hear from Chris Henderson earlier on Wednesday, and we're going to kind of dive into his comments, Tommy, and kind of break them down and take a look at what this means for Atlanta United in 2026 and beyond. But first off, how are you doing? What's new in your world?
Well, inside update for just you and I. We got to send Gray the link. Can you work on that while I talk?
Yeah, we got Gray Gouter coming in here in just a little bit. He is our Academy Atlanta United 2's guru.
He's pumped.
He's
pumped for that second pick.
Yeah, I forgot to yeah, let's kind of backtrack though. Last time Atlanta United had the number 2 overall pick in the MLS Super Draft was 2017, and of course we all know that Atlanta picked Miles Robinson with that draft pick, and the rest is history. It turned out pretty good for Atlanta United. I never want to see them pick that high again in the draft. Tommy, I'm sure you'd agree, but it's sort of the knockoff effect of finishing, I guess, as poorly as Atlanta United did. Tyler's wearing a glow-in-the-dark mask, which I don't know where it's from. I don't know what the
Purge?
No, I don't. Oh, the Purge. Okay, we'll post a photo on social. Why are you wearing a mask of the Purge? I know it's Halloween, but
that's the only reason. And because there might be a purge happening at Atlanta United soon.
Okay, I like the tie-in. I like the.
It was good. I just made that up off the top of my head.
So
I literally had this bit about 2 minutes ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, everything's orange.
Tommy has this Anaheim. I don't say Atlanta Ducks. Anaheim Ducks mask on.
That'd be great if they moved to Atlanta.
The Atlanta Ducks. The Atlanta Ducks.
Actually, this mask, everybody kept telling me to buy it. Like even like strangers would see me with duck stuff. Did you? Because they gave these away for free at their home opener. But these ones got orange eyes. I'm tripping right now. This light and everything's orange right now. I don't like it at all.
So I forgot
wait,
my
real
mask.
quick. Number 2. I don't mind having the number 2 pick because I think everybody has been super excited to throw that super draft party. I think everyone's been excited for it, and Gray's excited for it. But I'm just here for the super draft party. I hope Mercedes-Benz Stadium does exactly what they do for the Falcons. They get people in there. They get them excited. I'm half joking with this. I do think that with it being the number 2 pick here, they should probably do something. And I assume they probably do. Maybe they do like some get together or whatever for it.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, something there. But you know what? I mean, and we're going to really upset Gray when he comes in here because they might just trade it. As we've learned with this team, not value. We'll get to that in a little bit, but valuing young players and development and all that fun stuff. It's a little frustrating. People are asking for my rant, and trust me, I'm gonna sit there. It's been a day in general, and listening and then re-listening to it before hopping on here. There's a lot really to talk about here, but before
you have a special message for our friends watching and listening, don't you?
So this was hidden in the Waffle House episode, so thanks for everybody that hung out in the Waffle House episode. I think I was just so excited about the plain hash browns and the grilled cheese that Tyler doesn't approve of.
Real quick, I do want to add just real quick. We got called out, guys, for our Waffle House episode for spending, according to a iTunes review or Apple Podcast review, there were frustrated with the fact that we spent 5 minutes talking about our Waffle House orders, which
there was
I don't think it was like 5 minutes, but
you didn't send me this. I didn't see this. I'm excited.
We talked about it. I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys later. But
that's amazing.
That's part of the thing. You don't go to Waffle House and not share your order.
Yeah,
that's something to be proud of.
I agree.
When the team sucks, you need other things to talk about. Look, I know we're an Atlanta United podcast here, but we like to have fun here, and especially when this team has been so god awful now since March. you need to do some other things here. But speaking of that, this was at the end of this show, but I think we need to do it again, and that is just thank you to everyone that has hung out with us all season long, whether it's here, it's at the Signia, it's been at the stadiums, the tailgates, the Discord, Patreon, checking out our website, whatever it is that you do, we appreciate it, because I know that in a season that had a lot of excitement going into it, and then basically just in 2 months it turning upside down. And I'm not talking about the Atlanta Falcons, everybody, just in case you're confused here. I'm talking about Atlanta United.
Wrong Atlanta team.
But we did beat the Buffalo Bills, but I mean, that's a whole other story there.
Okay,
but again,
I'm using your mic, Tommy.
I just wanted to say thank you from all of us. And Gray will be here in a minute, and he'll share the same thing. But Henry's not here, and Jackson, thank you for hanging out with us all year. We truly appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. It does mean a lot. And Tommy mentioned that the season sucked, and hopefully we don't sit there another season like this again. As long as Atlanta United is in existence, and we joke about the number 2 pick and all that good stuff. But this was a bad year. It's a tough year for us because, Tommy, like you were saying, it's tough to really cover the team when it's doing so poorly. But we want to always do the best we can and give you the coverage that you all deserve and have some fun while doing it. We don't just want to play it straight. We want to have fun. We want you all to enjoy our audio and video content that we put out. So thank you for your support. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Obviously, thanks for showing that Signia by Hilton Atlanta, Nest on 4 Bar, and join us there. So Tyler, any thoughts from you?
Yeah. Hang on.
What are your thoughts?
Let me adjust myself here.
Turn your lights are off.
I know.
There you go.
I'm back.
Yeah. Welcome.
No, I just echo everything y'all said for sure. It's been a rough year. We know this. We love this club as fans. We cover it. We love the league, but Atlanta is always going to be home. And admittedly, man, it can be tough covering a team that's just not good. That did win the spork that's popping up right above my head as we speak.
The plastic spork, I guess, not the wooden spork.
We try to have fun. We try to enjoy it. We want it to be entertaining and informational. That was literally what we said from the get-go, from the moment we ever kicked this off. So we hope you guys, enjoy the stuff that we put out. We hope you guys get something out of it. But at the end of the day, we truly appreciate it. Everybody who, watches, listens after the fact, jumps in the chat, jumps on the watch alongs, hops in the Patreon and the Discord, all that. Every one of you guys, we truly, truly appreciate it. And of course, all the guests that hop on week in and week out as well. We couldn't do any of this without any of y'all. And we definitely wouldn't do any of this without any of y'all. So thank you.
Can I add just one more quick thing? I know we got to chat about Henderson's press conference and all that. This sounds like an NPR show or something like that, public radio. But we are a listener and viewer supported venture. We don't have a big media company backing us or anything like that. Although if we did, I'm sure we wouldn't treat MLS like Michael Wilbon from a part of the interruption treated it. I don't know if you guys saw that video. We actually care about soccer, unlike him. But no, we're supported by your Patreon memberships, your donations to the podcast website. and all of that. So we definitely appreciate those of you that are Patreon backers. But yeah, it's the end of the season and we want to do more. There's a World Cup coming in 2026, obviously. We want to do a lot of content around that. Atlanta United is season 10, so I'm sure we're going to do content around that as well. But yeah, go to scarfsandspikes.com. There are various ways that you could support the work that Scarves and Spikes does, whether that's through a Patreon membership, whether that's through shopping at our store, whether that's if you're a business in the Atlanta area. We'd love to bring you on board for a sponsorship. Please let us know. Or if you just want to donate one-time or monthly amount, we would definitely appreciate it, whatever you decide to donate, give. But scarfsandspikes.com has the information on how to do that. And yeah, thanks in advance for your support. Thanks in advance for your help. We really do appreciate it. And the best is yet to come for 2026 as far as we're concerned. Atlanta United on field product still a question mark.
Is it?
Yeah. Where we got to be like, this program is brought to you by viewers like you.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Reading Rainbow.
The government cuts to public radio don't affect us, by the way, because we're not getting government money. But anyway, yeah, seriously, scarfsandspikes.com. I know people just kind of roll their eyes at this part and skip past, but yeah, we really do appreciate it. And
100%.
Yeah, helps us keep the lights on figuratively. Set our hosting bills for our website, streaming platform, fees, stuff like that. So yeah, scarfsandspikes.com has information on how to do that. Tyler.
All right.
Or Tom.
We'll get Gray. Actually, get Gray in here first, and then I'll do this. So
let's bring Gray in. Gray's been waiting long enough. Gray's been waiting long enough.
Isn't this like a perfect color Halloween drink?
Hey guys.
What's up, Gray?
Hey.
What's going on,
buddy? Hey.
Welcome in.
I'm a member of the crew of one of my favorite Bill Murray movies tonight, a member of Steve Zissou's crew. So that's from the great movie Life Aquatic.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great movie.
I've heard of that. I've not watched that, but I've definitely heard of that.
Sydney, you're the only one.
I did not dress up. I missed the memo, guys. I'm sorry. I missed the memo. No one told me.
Halloween show. Come on.
It's kind of like the reverse Legally Blonde, where that's what it is, right? Where she
of all the pop cultures this man has ever given us, he gives us Legally Blonde. Legally Blonde. This guy has seen no movies in the world, but he knows a Legally Blonde reference.
So for the uninitiated, she's invited to this costume party, but when she gets there, she's the only one in costume because they want to show Reese Witherspoon's character up. So that's sort of what I refer to for the uninitiated. But Gray, welcome in.
Thank you.
Glad to have you.
Good to be here. Thanks for
nice
having
costume.
Me. Thank you.
So,
Tommy, you have a thing.
Yeah, go ahead, Tommy. I'm sorry. I forgot about that.
We're pulling.
You pulled up the You pulled up the.
I found it. And this is like mean tweets here. We got to say.
Stop spending 5 minutes talking about what you have ordered at a restaurant. Give me a break. This show is occasionally good, but this kind of junk is terrible. Well, I'm glad you think we're occasionally good. We definitely appreciate it.
I mean, whatever.
That's all that matters, right?
Whoever left,
as long as we're good occasionally,
is going to turn this show off by the time they get to this point.
Yeah, no, for sure. But by the way, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeart.
Specifically talking about Gray's costume.
Now they're on that topic.
And please help support our pledge drive today.
Yeah. Gray, I feel like you're an NPR guy and PBS guy, so I'm not saying it to make fun of them or anything
I did work for a college NPR station when I was in college. So
okay.
Yeah, WCWM.
What college is that?
William and Mary up in Virginia.
William and Mary. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I used to live in Virginia, so I know exactly where that is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we kind of joke about the reviews and stuff like that, and we understand we're not everybody's cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to have 100% of people like us, but we definitely appreciate your feedback, negative, positive, whatever. Share it with us. Let us know how we are doing. We always want to be better. We always want to improve our craft. We're not like major podcasts like
I thought you were about to call
Football
somebody
Americans
out.
or something. No, we're not like a big time funded podcast or anything like that.
All right, let's get into this.
All right,
We've been doing this for 15 minutes.
Okay.
What are we doing in this franchise? Damn it! Let me go. We're 15 minutes.
Would you like to rant? Would you like to rant about Chris Henderson?
Oh, look, I know I have dealt with enough blank sports and seasons. I've seen enough Falcons coach getting fired. I've seen enough Atlanta United coaches getting fired.
Arthur Blank, or are you blanking out a profanity? Just to be clear,
I live.
He said blank sports.
Whatever. Yeah. Arthur Blank sports, whatever group it is, whatever. I've seen everybody I've seen coaches, general managers, presidents leave, all of these things here, and I didn't know what to expect from here, and I blame Gray because on the Discord this morning he was talking about how excited he was for this. I think he thought it was going to be Tata Wednesday, and it was just frustrating Wednesday here. I knew going into this it was going to be generic general manager talk, and when I say that, I look at when you play if you play EAFC or FIFA or whatever, you get those options at the end of a game, like your conference, and it's like happy, fired up. Well, this was like yeah. So they start the thing with Chris, and they're like he's got a statement that he's going to read, and then we're going to ask questions, and like. I blinked and the statement was over, and it was basically just what we all know. It's like the season sucked.
Yeah.
Like the season sucked. That's it. And let's go. Let's ask questions. And there were a lot of good questions from everyone. Henry was there. Yeah. The whole group was asking some good questions. My question here is to everyone is, look, When Garth Lagerwey was announced as coming into Atlanta United, I was through the roof excited because this man had so much experience, so many awards for being a fantastic general manager. He's coming in here. He's not being the general manager. He's going to run over everything, bring in probably his own general manager at points. We're moving forward. We're moving in with excitement. Right. Excitement for the future of this team. And now I start asking my questions when you see the U22 spots, and it's still very negative on that, and just see how this team has been being built. I'm wondering if this group that is running this team is just good for MLS 5 years ago.
This is what I've asked numerous times. Are you willing to die on the hill of prime age players? And I think if you're doing that, if you're Garth and Chris, that's a bad decision. To your point, Tom, that might have worked 5 years ago. That might have worked with the Sounders, but this is MLS X.0, whatever you want to call it. But here's something that kind of encouraged me. He said, kind of quoting here, we want a balance of young, fresh energy and players who can develop and come through the system. So that kind of tells me, and definitely you guys let me know what you think here. They're trying to back off the private player philosophy just a little bit, not fully, but just a little bit, right? Let's bring in younger players. Let's lean into the academy a little bit more. Let's bring in U22s. Let's be cautious about it, but let's move in that direction. I don't know. Gray, you're the guru when it comes to younger players, academy. What do you think? Do you hear the same thing, or?
Well, I feel like I heard something different than before the salary report came out later today. I felt a lot more optimistic about that statement by Henderson before I knew how much money we spent at the end of the season.
A lot.
And then looked at our wage sheet and got more and more depressed as I saw the extraordinary amounts of money that we were spending on players that, either had very little positive impact or were substantially worse than the young center backs that we sent out.
Do we want to talk about that real quick, Grace? Sorry. Do we want to
Well,
talk about that
I
real
want Gray
quick?
to be able to.
Well,
yeah,
to
finish
finish that thought,
Let's
though,
go.
I think that the draft, the waiver wire, the reentry draft, the inexpensive signings like the U22s might be the only thing that we have to fill several substantial holes and a great deal of roster spots that need to be filled this offseason. It's just it's astounding, and you have to go basically down to Stian or Bartosz before you really see someone that you're like, okay, they made a decent impact. And then Stian was injured for so much of the year that you can't really even say that about him. And so to have to go past that many high paid players taking up that much of our salary cap before we get into an impact player is absolutely insane. And you see why we are so incredibly constrained in what we can do. And so I'm frankly thrilled that they're no longer tying an arm behind their back to no longer use U22 players, because right now our one U22 player is not playing while he's out on loan back in South America. And he's probably still taking up cap space for that as well. So I'm hoping that in good faith, they will look to the draft and look to other opportunities as a way to rebuild the core of this team and hopefully create better balance and hopefully better sustainability instead of making these massive gambles on players that they then use the excuse, well, they're coming in from Europe, they're in the middle of their season, they're not getting preseason. There are all of these things that don't seem to impact players on other teams in MLS, but seem to impact us. And there we go. We're stuck in the same financial quagmire that we've been trying to dig ourselves out of since we changed front offices within the last 5 years multiple times. And so, yeah, that's my long answer to your question that was meant to be a lot briefer.
I agree with you. Like you need to be able to use the U22 spots here to be able to. I mean, the point of them is to develop these players and then continue, to make money off of them. Like that's what the league wants. The league is hoping that you're going to develop these players and then sell them, and everyone makes money because MLS is a pyramid scheme. That's how it works. But I still just walked out of that just going, I don't have a real thought here on what the future is and if this is going to work, because they've already said you're staying with the three DP players. And I almost wish he didn't say that. And the reason why I do is because he said other things. Like I think Henry asked, what positions are you looking for to bring in here? And he said, well, that's up to the manager. Well, I understand you have a lot of money invested into these DPs here, but what if this DP doesn't work with this manager, and you want him to come in here and he wants to be able to play what he wants to, and look, your DP players are your heart and soul of this team, your TAM players and everything else. Those are your supporting cast members, obviously super important, and I think you're gonna have to do a lot. You have to bring a lot of these. You're gonna have to bring some supporting players in to make this team better, because you look at the players that we brought in this summer, they're the three highest paid players now under the DPs. It's a lot of money that you invested here, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But the offensive side of the ball here, which, look, I've said this before, goals bring fans in. I know, like, it's good defense is great as well. It's an important part of it, but you still need to be able to get the fans excited to be able to come in. And when you spend this much money on the offense, Connie's here. Fire Rich McKay. We'll get there. I'm getting there, Connie. I'm glad you're here. I was waiting for it. I was stalling on the Rich McKay rant. It you're gonna have to get rid of players to be able to build this offense back up, because right now you have Saba here, which, and I think I said in our Discord, like, if Tata Martino came here, I think he would love Saba. I think he'd be like, this is a guy that would be really good in my offense here. The problem is that we don't have anybody on the left. And if Miguel Almiron's going to continue to be on the right, which I assume he's probably going to be, you got to bring someone in there. So you got to remove players to be able to spend money on a good player on the left. So Saba's going to have to be out. Absolutely. Here. But we're not making changes in the scouting, which I think was kind of the thing that we've been waiting for. And I was waiting I knew someone was going to ask if Spectre and gang were going to be here. And the answer is yes, they are staying there. Okay. That's a little frustrating here, because I think we've all seen the players that have been coming here that have not been good consistently. Yeah, they have flashes here, but that's not changing. And I didn't walk out of that just feeling cheery that there's hope. Now, look, February is going to hit and the home opener is going to get close and I'm going to get excited. I do it every year for the Falcons, and I know every year the Falcons are going to be a complete shit show. Okay. I know that that's what's going to happen. And the Falcons have already done that this year. But I'm going to get excited. But right now, here, thinking about everything that was said, I just don't know what things are going to change, because you talk about young players, and he talked about developing young players on this team, and he brought up Luke Brennan. I agree. What about the center backs that you moved out here? The development of those guys, and you went and you spent all this money, the top 3 players that aren't DPs, on these guys, where you could have replaced them with some players that you were developing. And I think about the development, and I think about Jay Fortune. Jay Fortune's going to have his 4th coach since he's been here. How is that great for development? When you just constantly have someone keep coming in, a different guy left and right. And my last part, and I'll probably think of something else here. I should have wrote this down. But Connie, this is for you. Cover your ears if you don't want to. What the fuck is Rich McKay doing with this team?
No, hold on. Time out. Fans are using Rich McKay as I'm not saying
I hate him.
I know you do. I know you do, but people are just throwing out Rich McKay as the problem with this franchise. Rich McKay is not why
is he in charge of this team? Why is he touching this team?
That's a good question, but Rich McKay, I'm not touching you, but Rich McKay is not why Atlanta United sucks.
No. I get that. I absolutely get that. And I understand that Arthur Blank's son, is it Josh?
Josh, yeah.
Yes. So I know Josh is getting involved. Cool. All right. Josh is going to be here for a long time. He's probably going to be taking over everything for Arthur here. Yep. But Rich McKay, okay, this was yesterday. So the Falcons fans are blowing up. If you didn't know, they got absolutely wrecked by the Dolphins this week. And everybody went to blame Rich McKay for it. And I'm like, well, what is Rich McKay doing here? And there was an interview with Rich McKay that was posted online, and him talking, and he's basically like, I'm doing nothing here with the Falcons. I was like, good, don't do nothing with the Falcons. I'm happy with that. Stay away from it. And then I was like, oh, but what's he doing with Atlanta? He can't be. They probably just gave him the spot. It's like you move him into the basement, like Office Space, with the stapler, and just go, you go down the basement, Rich. We'll put you on the Atlanta United title. But they're all answering to Rich McKay now. What does Rich McKay know about anything? About MLS, anything?
I feel like it's just a rubber stamp if it's Atlanta United. I like to think he trusts Henderson, Demetrios, and Skate to make the decisions, right? With Garth recovering from cancer. That's what I hope and think, right? Am I wrong?
He had his hands in everything. He had his hands in everything with the Falcons.
With the Falcons, are we convinced with Atlanta United? I'm playing devil's advocate, but
you can't you can't go into having your hands in everything and going to Atlanta United and go, oh, you know what, you guys, you just run everything, but I'll take all the credit for it. You know what? There's no credit here. All you're taking is the blame now, because that's who they said that they answer to. And if the question is who should we bring in as manager? If they say I want to hire Tata, and he goes, you know what? Maybe we should bring in Porter. Rich McKay, Connie will come for you. She will find you. It will not work out well for you. I've been getting this way more and more. I've been an Arthur Blank defender Okay, for a long time.
Right.
If shout out to Arthur Blank for all the money he gave to the Hurricanes today. That was great. That's what that man does. He is great. But I do judge his judgment on the people that he trusts sometimes to run his teams and to run not the teams, but the organization, the Arthur Blank Sports, whatever. It was the initials were in there. I don't remember. What it was.
NBSC.
Yeah, like I seriously, that's the only fault that I think that he has is that he puts too much trust into some of these people, and despite some of their people's hands in it, you still see successes. Atlanta United won. The Falcons went to the Super Bowl. We're not talking about the Super Bowl. We beat the Bills a couple of weeks ago. That was great as well. But other than that, it's very frustrating of what's going on with this team here. And I just needed to get it out because I don't feel like anything's going to change with this team.
Tyler, what do you think? I have thoughts, but I want to hear what you have to say. I feel like you're kind of just been soaking it all in here.
I am taking it all in. I don't really care about anybody above Chris and Garth, honestly. Like and I'm talking about the entire organization because
I agree.
like the Falcons, they let me down for the last time years ago, and I'm like personally pissed off with them. And every time I try to turn them on to watch them, they piss me off again. I've given them not only second chances, but 5th and 6th and 18th chances, and it continues to infuriate me. So I put all my energy into Atlanta United. There are things 100% that need to change, and tying it all together, going back to the press conference today, I mean, to play devil's advocate as well, Chris Henderson is not going to come out and tell you exactly what he's doing. This is front office. This is how front offices work. I don't remember who made the point, but because I've been so busy today, I've only caught the massive exchange that's been going on in our Discord all day. But somebody made the point that you don't obviously know what a front office is going to do, but when you come up on a season like Atlanta has had, and you go into the off season, and you're having a new manager search, this end of season press conference by Chris is going to make him even more guarded at what he's going to say, because anything that he does say in active negotiations with coaches could be negative for the club. So even more so, I think he's going to hold those cards close to the chest. That being said, I think the one thing that I do kind of have an issue with is just, I wish he wouldn't have come out. And I think, Tommy, you kind of noted this. I wish he wouldn't have come out and just straight up said that all 3 DPs are going to be the 3 DPs next year, because I don't think anybody needs to be locked in. I don't think anybody at all needs to be guaranteed that they're going to be here next year. Now, can we look at common sense and take a look at things and say, like, all right, well, you know, is Miguel Almiron probably going to be here next year? Probably. Is the guy that they spent $22 million in probably going to be here? Yeah. But I don't know that you can sit there and say like that everybody just has this kind of free reign. So yes, that part, not my favorite, but there are going to be a lot of changes in this offseason, 100%. Whether Chris Henderson came out today and straight up blatantly said it, or whether Chris Henderson came out today and was just kind of like, yeah, I'm going to give you the front office answers. And I'm fine with that, because what we're going to see over the next couple of months is going to be change. So it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. We talk about how short that rope is getting for a lot of people. And look, Chris has only been here for a year, and now he's got the full reins. So is the pressure there? Absolutely. But this is the chance for Chris to come in with some ice in his veins and say, like, all right, we're changing things here, wherever. And I think it's necessary, because look, it was said at the beginning of the year and it was said at the end of the year. Was Ronnie Dyla the best fit for this organization? Absolutely not. But on the way out, Ronnie Dyla said a couple of things that were freaking true. And one of those is that The organization is too nice. And I think for sure that whoever the coach is that comes in alongside Chris and Skate and everybody else in the front office that actually makes decisions, so not Rich McKay, I think they need to come in.
You don't know that, Tyler. You don't know what Rich McKay does.
I don't know that. But whoever it is.
Let's get him on the show. I'm sure he would love to be on here.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
He's got his fan base right here to the side.
Johnny, stay away.
But no, I think
you can't come in that episode.
I think ultimately, like, they're going to have to be significantly harder in some of the decision making, and you're going to have to take emotions out of it. I hate to say it, but I mean, you got to have some ice in your veins. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Yep.
I want Gray to be able to dive in as well. I know we're circling around, but yes, that's where I'm at. Take a sip of my drink.
Yes. But I had a quick question. Sorry. Or do we want Gray? I didn't know if you wanted to hit on what Tyler said. Did Henderson
follow-up?
Did Henderson say that all 3 DPs would be with the team in 2026, or that they would start 26 with all 3 DPs? I feel like we need to kind of look at the messaging behind what he really said, you know? I've seen Matt Dell recommend, hey, if a championship team comes looking for a latte lot and they get a good offer, sell them off and open it up. Open up that DP slot. I can't say it's not a possibility that that materializes, you know? But Tyler, like you said, they have to have ice in their veins, and I feel like the phrasing is very interesting, the way he said it. Gray, what do you think?
I thought it was really interesting that he said that all of the players have something to prove next year. And he was talking about preseason as where he wants to see a lot of these players have a chance to succeed with the new manager. So I think there's a chance if things don't feel right or don't look right, either heading into preseason or coming out of preseason, they could be on their way out. Also, the team is continuing to train together through November 7th. So if any of our coaches that are interviewing happen to be able to watch some of that training and, happen to say, oh, I'm not sure if that guy fits, or this guy, I really want to keep him around. That's another opportunity there. And one last point, I did not want to give the wrong impression about in the roster building that he was not supportive of the academy. He absolutely was. That was something he spent a decent amount of time today talking about, was how much he believes in the player development team that's helping to bring players up through that system. Specifically called out Brennan, Riley, and Chong Kui as 3 players who were bright spots for him. Talked about how nice of a surprise Hibbert really stepping into his own was, and mentioned that we're going to be bringing in multiple keepers to replace Kuzan. So I feel like everybody's job is on the line to some degree here, and that if you do have a coach like Tata Martino who has a binder of players that he wants and clear idea of what fits, what doesn't, in what I felt was a really subtle but scathing indictment of Dyla. Henderson talked a lot about wanting players to be able to believe in themselves, believe in the system, and understand a really clear, concise, proactive attacking style of soccer in that system, where they understand their role acutely and have distinct actions that they can take in each scenario, instead of being in this very uncertain state where he saw most of the players playing this year. And so I think that is the really interesting point that we'll be looking at, especially as we're examining, what we do through all of the different roster building mechanisms that come up, and what we do with one of these 6 coaching finalists who are being narrowed down as we speak. A lot could change, if we go with Savarese, that's one very different direction than Tata. If it's another MLS coach, or if it's a coach from overseas, it might look completely different, because we have a collection of players right now who are a jumble of different folks who don't fit one specific system. So you could basically have starter packs for a bunch of different teams, depending on which coach you want to come and build around.
It's interesting that Henderson didn't specifically, and don't know if you guys caught this, he didn't specifically say what he was looking for. Mm-hmm. Lagerwey did that before he hired Dyla. He said, I want an MLS coach with championship pedigree. Or I don't think he said MLS coach, but someone familiar with the MLS system. Henderson didn't say that. And salary cap, yeah, exactly. Henderson didn't say that. And that was very interesting to me. Of course, we mentioned Tata, we mentioned Savarese. There are other names out there. Peter Vermees, I don't know if he would be a fit, but he's available. Jim Curtin, I don't think he would want to come to Atlanta anyway. He's available, though. But I noticed that he didn't say specifically sort of what Garth Lagerwey did. I feel like it is to avoid boxing themselves in and saying, hey, this has to be XYZ coach. And if they don't they don't check every single box that, we're looking for, he's not right for the club. So I don't know if anyone else catch that, and if so, what do you kind of think of that approach?
Really quick, I'll throw this out there too, because it ties into that.
Yeah.
Because I think it seems pretty clear to me that the coach, and this is not just because of what's going on now, but I mean, Garth has even said, going back to the beginning of the 2025 season, that he wanted to build this group of leaders to collectively make a lot of these decisions, right? Like Javier Perez is one, Skate, like all these folks that are part of the front office. This is a collective, team decision on a lot of the player acquisitions. And Dyla, to be fair, he had a seat at the table as well. So the new coach is going to have that seat at the table. And I would caution, I think my biggest thing is I would caution anybody because I know it is frustrating. We all looked at the roster, guide and everything. The number that matters is the salary cap, not what a player makes. I as an Atlanta United fan, now if I was like a Salt Lake fan, this would be a different conversation. But as an Atlanta United fan, I don't care how much money these players make. It's also not my money. But Atlanta United has money. A and B has money. All right. Like, that's not a concern. The problem is the salary cap. And keep in mind that just because that number says whatever, $1 million, right? One, the salary cap can be altered through other roster mechanisms. So you think about GAM, you think about how Atlanta, especially over the past season and a half, has had a really good knack for acquiring allocation money. That stuff can use to be bought down. So just because it says that you're paying Juan Bettercall on a loan $1 million, that doesn't necessarily mean that's what it's going to hit come the end of the day when it actually matters.
How are we getting the GAM? Just curious, how are we getting it?
Well, because all that to say, you have a new coach coming in, right? And the new coach is I think part of the decision making is going to be looking at the players as a whole and looking at the salary cap as a whole to be able to say, like, all right, I'm not in a league where we can go and just throw money at people and bring in whoever. They're going to have to work out, along with Chris, who can reasonably come in with the MLS roster mechanisms and actually come in and make a, fit within the salary cap. So I brought in the GAM thing because I feel like it's not just about bringing in the coach who might fit the roster at the moment. It's about who is ultimately going to fit in all aspects of Major League Soccer. I went a roundabout way of getting there, but I got there.
Yeah. But like he talks about the academy, Gray. But what did we do with our young players this summer?
Oh God, yeah, that's not fun to talk about. And I see Bruno's asking that question too. One of the ways we potentially get GAM this off season is if we make the loan permanent to Colorado for Noah Cobb. There's potentially an add-on for Morales as well, depending on specific metrics he might reach in Montreal. And I saw a lot of speculation over the summer that Fortune might have been on the move as well, which I hope doesn't happen, and I don't think will, because I can't imagine his value is as high as it was over the summer before he got injured, and I'd like to see him come back. But one of the really nice things about these young players is they're on the supplemental roster and they don't count against the cap. So it's basically free minutes, free value on the field when you're playing them. And when you have a Caleb Wiley out there, when you have a Jay Fortune out there, even when you have Jaden Hibbert in goal, that is free, entirely free in a salary cap league, and you're able to use your resources in other spots. I wish that we were managing that a little bit better, and that we were putting these guys in better positions to succeed. And an interesting point that Chris did make is that he wants to make sure that we're no longer blocking these players from reaching the first team and succeeding there, and talked about guys who got their chances because of injuries for the players above them in the charts, and really seeing how remarkable those young guys are. But you're alluding to the right thing, where it's like in baseball, where you've got a farm team, or you've got a team like Baltimore, or what Atlanta used to be, or Tampa Bay, who build these fantastic, inexpensive teams through development internally, and then they sell them to the Dodgers or to the Yankees or the Mets or the Phillies or someone like that who has a lot of money to throw around. And so, yeah, I think we're in a tricky scenario right now, and due to the amount of really quality midfielders we may have one or more of those guys on the move. The trick there, though, is determining who can create the kind of value that lets them get the other pieces that they want. The ability to change profit in a transfer fee to up to 3 million GAM is a relatively new mechanism that we benefited from with Wiley, and we're able to buy out, I think it was Sleesh's transfer fee that was kept on because of that. And Sleesh seems to have the greatest chance of being a high return player in that stacked midfield right now. So if we felt that before the World Cup, we could get a lot of resources to fill in other places on the roster, they may feel tempted to move on from one of the best players on the roster. And I would hate to see him go, because I think he's one of the most fun guys out there.
Mm-hmm. But you go back to the young players here, and you say one thing, but you did the other this summer.
Yeah.
And I understand that you needed to, you didn't have to go out and spend that much money on center backs here, but you went on and you moved from two. And I understand that there's a chance come back, but still, like, I hear the praise and I go, okay, cool. But is he gone in the summer? Is he gone is someone gone this winter? And like, I know people are talking about Hibbert, and I think people are a little upset that they didn't give the answer maybe people wanted there. But like, it's not up to Chris to announce that Hibbert's a starter next season. That's the new manager coming in, and we don't know who else they're going to bring in. And obviously, they're going to have a competition. This is the first, like, I understand there was a competition over the past couple or 2 years ago when it was, but like, Brad was going to end up winning that very most likely, unless he wasn't healthy there. But Hibbert is going to be a real competition, you assume here. But Hibbert, the good thing for him is that he's already shown what he can do in MLS, so it's not like he's just coming in cold. That's why I respect. I assume, and maybe I'm wrong, but I assume that was Brad's choice to say, because he wants a future in this club as well. He wants.
So.
They mentioned that he wants to be there. Hey, I know that this kid needs a shot here. We need to give him some reps here, and he took it over the entire season, and there was a lot of praise coming from him. And we talk about 2 MVPs here. When we asked who the MVP was, Sleesh and Hibbert were I think the 2 that everybody said. And you talk about maybe moving on from Sleesh, like that's already, when I hear that, I'm like, I can't, like, I like get rid of the bright spots here to fill some other spots with someone that you might not even know is that good is frustrating. And I don't think they move on from Hibbert. I really don't. I think that they're going to be holding on to him, and they will have that true competition there. But actions will speak louder than words in the next year and 2 years about, bringing these players up and giving them a legit shot to get quality MLS minutes, not just to sit on the bench all season and then get, a start here, there, get a little bit of value and then sell them off there. You really need to develop, because we say this all the time. Like, Hibbert was all the way at the bottom of that cap list. He was at the minimum. Like, that is something where if he's your starter, that is a salary. That's another salary cap thing, is being able to have young players come in here and, like you said, not affecting the cap, all of that. That is legit how you can really cheat the cap with, especially with a team like Atlanta United that does want to spend money on high money on a lot of these positions here.
I have a question, and Gray, this is right up your alley. How's the homegrowns look to you? Well, it's sort of a twofold question. How's the homegrowns looked? And out of former Atlanta United Academy players, I know you love to keep track of them on the college level. Who's kind of stood out to you?
Yeah. So as far as the homegrowns go, I feel like we're continuing to see progress from the guys who are getting chances. And I think we continue to see stronger and stronger pools of players coming up through the system, like seeing Didi Cibrian make such an impact with the twos at just 15 years old as a starting midfielder in the back half of that season was really impressive. Santiago Pita and Gabriel Wesse were fantastic as those twin 10s and slash wingers that they ended up playing. And Toto Majoub, who was brought in both as an academy and twos player in the offseason last year, really came alive in that hybrid left back, left center back role in the back three too. And I think we've got a lot of young guys that we can be excited about who could be role players if they get a chance. And I love seeing Cooper Sanchez force his way up into the first team and play a big role there. He is, in terms of the quality of caliber of players, he's in that same tier as Caleb Wiley. And so he can be a big deal. He can play on the international stage. He can make it to Europe, and he has that bulldog mentality. And I think just need to keep giving him opportunities and keeping him grounded with really good veteran players around him, the way Javi Armas was able to be that partner for him in the twos midfield. And I think there's every reason to be confident in him. I'm also excited about our two new twos midfield or goalkeepers who were just signed over the last couple of months. I think Ransom, Donaldson, they're great couple of players. I think Donaldson is more likely to venture overseas before he makes it to Major League Soccer, since that seems to be his ambition. And Ransom is probably going to get a lot of attention as he is working his way up through the Canadian youth national team ranks from the U17s as well. But we could have a really good youth movement at goalkeeper, kind of like how Chicago has been working that through with Slonina and Brady and all of those guys. And so that's a very good problem to have. And to answer your question about the college players, we've got a few really interesting guys. The seniors are interesting. We've got Cristiano Bruletti with one of the best teams in the country in Indiana. I think he may be dealing with an injury right now. I haven't seen him the last few matches, but was having a very good year as one of the central midfielders for them, and has played consistently with Coach Anand's team and USC for the beginning of his college career. Went to Michigan State, and then is finishing his college career at Indiana. High likelihood he's one of yet another one of those talented players that we developed who ends up in the draft and ends up doing well for someone else. But I think Nigel Prince could end up coming back in a similar way that Matthew Edwards did, with a twos prove it deal, and potentially forcing his way up from there as a talented center back with a ton of experience. Looking a little bit younger, Braden Dunham has just hit the ground running with Furman. He's already one of the best freshmen in the country and is probably the best freshman defender in the country. And it makes me wonder how long he's going to be there. Remy Okunlola with Clemson is having a really strong junior season and has all kinds of versatility up the right side of the field. He can play right center back, right wing back, and right wing, and just has some really good movement and defensive ability on the outside, and can whip a really nice cross or line splitting pass in there. He'd be eligible for us to sign him as a homegrown either this offseason or next year after his senior season next season. He's someone I would love to see as a right back of the future for us. Brendan Lamb is still doing great for Virginia. He missed some time with an injured toe, but he just got back on the field a little while ago, and is one of the most calm and composed central or holding midfielders that I've ever watched. He could be that kind of metronomic player like a Nagbe, and is very good at controlling the game, controlling the ball, helping to shield opponents off of the ball when he has it, and just plays with so much confidence and a level of cool kind of ease that just looks like he's moving at a different speed. Those are some of the guys I'm really excited about. There's a handful more that are doing great. Like, it was good to see Stephen Herlock get his first appearance for UVA the other night. It's a really talented freshman who could be a left wing product for us in the future. A handful of other guys that I'll be excited to share their progress at our end of season article coming up next month. But we're about to head into the conference championships in a week or so. So really good soccer coming up in the Big Ten, in the Big South, and in the ACC. So keep an eye out for that.
But not the SEC, because there's no SEC men's soccer.
No,
only women's.
not yet. But as things start to reform, and as Title IX starts to be less of a limitation on sports funding, I think you could see more than just South Carolina and Kentucky starting to add their teams.
So just quickly, I mean, you mentioned reform, and we saw U.S. Soccer come out with a proposal to split college soccer to the fall spring season. I guess quickly, what are your thoughts on that? Would it be a benefit to college soccer if it did that, or should they just stay the same with a fall season only, and then in the winter have the championships?
Well, overall, the U.S. soccer and college soccer have been trying to make the top most competitive teams, the most competitive conferences, a lot more aligned with the pro game, because they're trying to close that gap that players may have to overcome when they're heading into the pro game, and they want to make sure that their student athletes are not getting physically burned out with the playing schedule that they're having to do now. So switching it up to making it more of a weekend-based calendar with both seasons of winter and spring, and improving the overall quality of player support and conditioning as well, I think will be a really positive thing. And it's encouraging more training and support for coaches, because you see, the level of coaching in some of the top leagues continues to increase. And I think they're trying to walk this fine line, because we've seen a massive influx of foreign players, specifically guys coming from Europe, who are becoming a major part of a lot of the different teams. Like Marshall is a great example of a team that recruits heavily to that, and would love to see us find a little bit more balance around that, so that we're not losing opportunities for domestic players. But it's good for them to have that competition. It's good for them to push against that. So just enforcing it as a U23 league, and not having guys who are starting as a freshman as a 24-year-old, I think will be a real benefit.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. I wanted to kind of pick your brain about it and see where your thoughts, because it kind of sounds like college football, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Big Four or the Power Four is trying to break away from the Group of Five, or whatever it's called now, Group of Six, and kind of make their own sort of tournament, I guess you can call it. So it sounds like college soccer may be headed in that direction to a much lesser extent, with it being obviously a non-revenue sport, not in the way that football is anyway, but just found that interesting. I wanted to, again, get your thoughts on it.
Absolutely. And they're moving towards more of a regionalized system, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
That was the recommendation from U.S. Soccer, was to move things into regions instead of conferences, try to cut down on travel, and create something that feels like a promotion relegation within that regionalized model. I don't know if college soccer is going to adopt that. That's just a recommendation that U.S. Soccer made for them. But it is good to see, college soccer coaches, the players, the different sporting directors continuing to push the game forward.
Yeah. See what happens in the next 3 to 5 years here. I think college soccer will look much different, for at least in my opinion, than it does today.
Absolutely.
So
Tyler, you got
really
something real
quickly,
quick?
yeah, I just got to kind of on that specifically. In what way, in your eyes anyway, if this does get adopted, how do you feel like that pipeline would look, or how would it change, or how would it be better or worse for a team like Atlanta United, and how they've kind of handled that pipeline in the past?
Yeah.
For clubs who produce a lot of talent from their academy, I think the college game continuing to become more competitive is a really good opportunity to supplement the kind of training or the type of development that players can get who might not be ready for that MLS Next Pro contract yet. They might not be ready for the pro game, but could be. And so it's a chance for them to go and make a little bit of NIL money, go into a team, getting an education, potentially, physically or maturity wise growing, and getting some really good training from some of the top coaches in the lower leagues of our country. I think a lot of the coaches in the ACC or the Big Ten or some of these leagues are comparable to the coaches that you might find in the USL, and some of these systems are as complex as what you might see played at the MLS level. And so I think, and I see Omer's question about eligibility. That's something that they're looking to evaluate right now as well, is what constitutes eligibility. And so, for example, the guys that we signed early on as homegrowns who ended up, not making it very far early on, and have had to go on really challenging routes trying to continue their college or their soccer careers. there's a way that they're trying to create for those guys to be able to go back into the college game. And so just trying to create as many opportunities for young players to succeed as possible is a big part of those recommendations.
Yeah. So you got to ask you about the draft coming up, and we kind of joked about earlier. A lady United number 2 pick last time. Of course, they had the number 2 pick was 2017. They took Miles Robinson out of Syracuse. We all know how that turned out, and they've had some other hits in the draft. Julian Gressel is one. Jaden Hibbert, jury's still out just a little bit, but early on he's looked pretty decent for Atlanta United. Of course, there have been some misses, but you have an opportunity to pick up I don't know if it's quite a program changing or a club changing signing, but someone who could affect the first team pretty rapidly with that second pick. I guess, who do you think could be available for Atlanta United with that second pick come December?
That is actually more of a complex question than it needs to be. So when we're looking at the player pool now, we have guys who still have homegrown eligibility for another team. So we don't know if they're available yet. We have guys who were drafted in the last 2 or 3 years who still belong to whatever team drafted. So Casper Moles is a guy that we still technically have his rights. He's a goalkeeper at UVA.
Almost forgot about him.
Yeah, unlikely he comes back at this point because he'd take up an international slot. But yeah, there are all of these different mechanisms for players to still potentially belong to another team that makes it a little bit cloudy. And so once we whittle all that down, we have to look at, is this an international player or a domestic player? Because we've seen Atlanta United has, ever since our second draft, has run into the issue of drafting players who required an international slot, but we didn't have one for them. So at best, they were playing for the twos. At worst, you have Anderson Asiadu, who everyone loved, who would have immediately been, a wonderful part of that locker room, but who was not given a contract and ended up playing a really great early career for Birmingham. So we have to look at that a little bit. And then some guys like Clemson's Ransford Guian, who I think will be a top 3, if not top 5 pick this year. We have to look at, was he living in New Jersey as a child for long enough to technically get the green card or the permanent resident status that would make him not require an international roster slot. Now, I don't know that, but I'm sure scouts do, because he's become one of the most interesting players in the country as this highly dynamic and skilled number 10. He's tiny, but plays a little bit larger. He moves kind of like if Joseph Martinez was a number 10. That's the best way I can describe him. He moves incredibly well. He can feel the space within the field. He's a great passer and finds the ball all day. Yeah, finds the ball, finds the goal.
I'm sure.
And I think he's got 15 or 16 goal contributions between goals and assists in as many games this year, and is just a sophomore. So I think he's 19 or 20 and a lot of room to grow. And he's a guy who could play out on the left wing if you needed him to. You can bring him inside if you needed him to. The other guy who I know is going to be available next year if he doesn't sign a Generation Adidas deal this year is the freshman phenom Richmond Simmons from not Richmond. So he's from Richmond. His name is Nicholas Simmons. He's with UVA. He's a phenomenal center forward, 6'4", nearly 200 pounds, strong, mobile, really, really smart player who loves to run at the defenders, causes all kinds of chaos. And I think Simmons is the prototypical Generation Adidas signing if they do any of them this year. the trick is going to be, does DC United sign the tall and dynamic striker that could be the Benteke replacement, who's from their backyard? And if they do draft him as the top overall pick, then I think Ransford Gyan is the second overall pick from Atlanta United.
His nickname is 100% going to be Richmond Simmons
from now on. Yeah, Nicholas Simmons. Amazing. Yeah, Nicholas Simmons from Richmond.
I will throw this out there, Sydney. I know you got some because we have a lot of people watching and listening, I'm sure, after the fact as well. But and we say it all the time. Every single time we have you on, and we push the articles that you put up on our website, on scribesandspikes.com, then of course on Patreon when we do more in-depth stuff. But I have to say this every single time. These are
your notification goes off.
Yes. Perfect time. These are the players that you're going to hear about within the next couple of seasons. These are the players that from an Atlanta United perspective, Miles Robinson was being talked about beforehand, right? Caleb Wiley for sure was being talked about well before he made it inside the bins and had a goal on his first team appearance. These are these names that you're hearing about now. And just, do we expect everybody to go and watch every Tuesday game or every Academy game or follow it? No, that's why we're here trying to give you guys this information. And Gray is literally the guy. I'm telling you, and I'm not just talking about from an Atlanta perspective. Gray knows more about this stuff than literally people at the clubs that we talk about. So
100%.
When you hear these names, just file them away. I mean, go watch the news and watch some of these college games. We talk about it in the Discord a lot, but these are the names that you're going to hear within the next couple of years that you're going to be like, all right, Duncan McGuire, good example. I think at this point, whether you love Orlando or hate them, you've heard the name, you remember the name, right? That's where all this kind of comes into play. So, it's super great stuff. And Gray, we appreciate it, obviously, always. But for everybody listening, this is where you get this information from.
Well, I'm sure Blackburn Rovers won't forget Duncan McGuire's name anytime soon.
Or the guy that couldn't hit accept on the final page.
That's hilarious. That's soccer lore right there.
Yeah, that's wild.
Well, if y'all want to watch a really, really fun college team, the NC State Wolfpack are on a tear this year. They brought down New Hampshire's coach, and they are one of the most fun teams in all of college soccer to watch this year. Justin McLean, who's one of our academy products, is playing for them for his junior year. He used to be with Georgia State. And if I had to target a guy who I'd love to get with that third round pick if he's still there, it's the midfielder from New Hampshire, Tag Healy. He has just been having a phenomenal year, and would love to see Healy potentially come and become one of our midfielders.
It's gonna be interesting to see what they do. Again, they've not picked this high in some time, but if the draft were today, just throw out a name that you think Atlanta United would pick. I know you've mentioned several names. Gian, you've mentioned others that have shown talent. Simmons is as well. What name comes to mind if Atlanta United were the clock right now that they would pick?
Oh man, if they were okay with spending an international roster spot on a right back, Luka Nikolai from UNC is a really, really interesting player. I think he may have been there the same time as Edwards, but that kid, he is an absolute baller at right back. He has got all kinds of attitude, and he's a really talented German right back who I think would be a good fit for us. Richie Amon from University of Washington is a senior midfielder, just one of those calm and composed players. I think he's a little too similar to what we have in in Riley and Fortune, but if one of those guys, if they're intending to move on from one of them, I think that could be an option. University of Delaware's Marius Stenner is a really interesting player. He's just been an offensive force in the Coastal Athletic Association the last couple of years. And one guy, I've only seen a couple of his matches, but Enzo Dovlo from UNC Greensboro. He's from Strasbourg in France, but he can play all up and down the left side and as an attacking midfielder as well. And he can rip a shot too. He did some really, really nice shots against NC State in their matchup last week. So yeah, I think all of those guys are an interesting option. If we do a trade back scenario, the Icelandic forward from Duke, Ulfur Bjornsson, is also a really interesting player. He's had kind of a down year due to injuries, but that kid has a ton of talent, and I think he's probably going to end up doing very well in Next Pro at the very least next year.
Yeah. A lot of interesting possibilities for Atlanta United with that number 2 pick, and I'm sure those will become much more. I'm sure we'll get a better sense of what their thinking is closer to the day. I'm sure mock drafts will come in on all of that, but I'm interested to see what happens with that second pick. Gray, always a pleasure to have you on, sir. Your expertise and knowledge about the academy, the twos, and college soccer, I think, really sets Scarves and Spikes apart as a media outlet. So we definitely appreciate your time. Where can people find you online?
Well, if they're looking for soccer stuff, just go to Scarves and Spikes. That's where I am. Or join us in the Discord. I spend most of that side of what I do there. If you're interested in the creative work or the nonprofit work that I do around environmentalism or city planning or systems thinking, community ecology, things like that, you can check out all of my other social media handles. Just search my name, and that's the easiest way to find it.
It's funny you mentioned Discord. Tyler or Tommy or Gray, how do people get access to our Discord? What do they need to do to get access to our Discord? Tommy.
Patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes. Join us.
Yes. Definitely.
We got some plans for this winter.
Mm-hmm.
We got some fun plans coming up.
Yeah, it's a secret. You can't know.
I mean, go back to Waffle House.
Ruth's Chris.
We can only have one bad review.
We need a few more $10 members for that.
And if you participate in this pledge drive, then you can see more shows just like that.
Tyler, tell me anything else. Did we miss anything? I know we talked about a lot.
They've got a lot to prove to us for the rest for this long, very long off season that we have. Coach is up first. That's going to be important. The scouting department, if they're not making the change, they've got a lot to prove.
Yep. Because
it's very rare that I think that you hear out of a lot of teams what their scouting department is. A lot of people don't know the name there. But Spectors is a name that is widely known in the Atlanta United universe. And when he's known for that, it either means it's really, really good or it's really, 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 really bad. And everybody knows exactly what it is right now. And that was a fair question. I think that they asked him was about that, because I think, look, when you finish second worst and third or fourth, or I remember how much highest on payroll, everything is going to be questioned here. And when you don't make a change on it, and look, I know Chris is kind of just taken over as kind of the main guy of everything here, you're going to get these questions, and you're going to consistently get asked these questions, because why isn't a change going to be happening? If a change hasn't happened in a long time and you haven't been consistently good, why isn't there a change? So there's got to be a lot of pressure on them as well. And then again, it's just, this manager search is very, I think, nerve-wracking here, because We've already heard a few names, and I think one we really like and one we're just kind of meh about. And then we get a little scared about what some of the other names that can be involved in here. And it's either going to be a great day, and right now at this point, to be honest with you, I think it's Tata or bust. I think any other name that doesn't come up that's Tata Martino, I think is not going to be handled pretty well here, because at least it seems like to me that a lot of these are going to be MLS retreads, bringing back through, and we really know how a lot of those work there, and that's where it's either going to make this offseason exciting, because we said how could you get us excited here, because we've been told the 3 DPs are here. We're probably not doing too much craziness in the U22 spot. So what are you going to excite the fan base with? And I guess it's Tata and his fashion sense on the sidelines. I think that's really the only thing that could get you excited. Is he going to wear this? Is he going to have the sweater tied around his? I'm sure we could put a gambling thing on the what site where you could bet anything.
You're the one that should know this.
Well, no, there's like a website where you could like bet just the dumbest things possible. Like
that would be so much fun.
I know what you're talking about. I know.
They made fun of it on South Park a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
but it's. I mean, at this point, I can yell and I can complain. It's not going to be February. It's not going to be March. It's going to be in the middle of the summer, where I'm going to be able, right around the World Cup time, is we're going to tell if they really made a success of this offseason, or if it's all the same, or God forbid it's worse. You really can't get much worse. But
what are you doing?
I'm knocking on wood.
That's a loud knock.
Yeah, I shit on everything today, but I will say I will end it with one positive thing. And I think it was kind of a knock at Ronnie a little bit too, but Gray, what you said about having soccer where everybody knows what they're doing offensively, being able to create these chances, because we had no identity the entire year, and that's when I said, and that was why I was thinking to myself, is how do you keep Ronnie here when you had no style all season long? And I really wish somebody would have asked, and he would have answered it right, but I still just wanted to ask the question. When did you decide that this team needed a change at manager?
Yeah.
I know he wouldn't have told the truth. I know. Like, he's not going to say it. But if he would have said July, like, all right.
That would have just been ammunition for your rant.
I know.
I would have ranted, but then I would have ended with, all the respect in the world for admitting to it, sir. I appreciate that. And one thing, just think about, because we haven't even mentioned. Are we still doing the watch along in a little bit here?
Yeah.
Hey, it's been published, and if I am the only one there, I will monologue, and I will make it fun. There will be drinks included.
LAFC is looking for a manager.
Huh?
LAFC is looking for a manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who is the number one rumor person?
Tata Martino.
Chris, you better not take a long time with these 6.
He won't.
I know LAFC isn't getting knocked out here anytime soon. That'd be crazy if they did, but you better hurry up, buddy. Because you got another person with a rose on the other side of the room, ready to hand it to Tata while he's wearing that beautiful sweater around his neck. You better give him that rose now. Because someone else is gonna come and give it to him.
Well,
Tyler. Sorry, Greg.
So one quick point here. Ben Wright had a really, I think, interesting metric for us to look at of what success could be next year. In breaking down, how the teams did and how much money they spent, found that it was 5 times more expensive for us to get a win than Philadelphia's wins. And it cost us over 3 times as much money to get a goal. So it was $1 million a point, and it was $750,000 a goal. And if we can be a little bit more frugal next year, a little bit more efficient with our money, that would be wonderful.
Pay me $750,000, and I promise you, within one MLS season, I will give you at least 5 times that. Come hell or high water.
I don't know if I could do it at my age.
No. For $750,000, I will give you the best season Atlanta United has ever seen, and then I will retire. I will ride off
go out on top. Go out on top.
Joseph Martinez, who?
Yeah, right.
That's all I care about.
Do you have a closing thought, or is that your closing thought, Tyler?
For me?
Yes.
And biannual financial support from viewers.
I don't know what that is.
Thank you.
That's their closing thought.
Yeah, no. No, I'm good. I think, despite what happened today, it's a long off season, much longer than normal. It's a long off season, and don't let one day kind of give you your entire outlook on how this off season might actually go. Just because things were or weren't said today doesn't mean a whole lot, because it's front office speak. It is what it is. And look, I'm not grasping too far to give people something to hold on to, but it is 100% like it is a reality. There aren't many that are going to get out there and just tell you 100% like it is, for a variety of reasons. That makes sense. But they do have to do better. Like Alan said, Latte's 7 goals at $4 million essentially a piece. That's insane. That's not good enough. Brett, spending money doesn't equal success. I mean, they've got to do better. Have to do way better.
I agree. Watch along LAFC versus Austin FC starting at 10:15. Hang out with us however long you want. I mean, we'll be taking you through start to finish, but we'd love to see you there. Follow us on or subscribe on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and iHeart. One, both, or all three. Like and subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. If you're listening, join us live on YouTube Wednesday night, 7 p.m. And then our other broadcasts throughout the week here on YouTube. We definitely do appreciate it. We said at the top, thanks for your support of Scars and Spikes. I think I hit on everything, all the promos, stuff like that. Tommy, where can people find you on social media?
Tommy ATL 96. Still just too upset to make a funny tag. So just go find me, I guess.
Yeah. Gray, where can people find you on social media?
Oh, just search Greg Outer. I'm out there somewhere.
Tyler, where can people find you on social media?
ATL Pilgrim.
I'm at SA Trites on X and Blue Sky, Soccer on Instagram and Threads. Scars, the letter N, Spikes on X, scarsandspikes.com on Blue Sky, Scarves and Spikes, Instagram and Threads, facebook.com/scarsandspikes, and of course, scarvesandspikes.com. Support us, support our work, support what we do here, and we will take you through the off season and beyond with the best Atlanta United coverage on the internet.
Ooh.
Yes.
I want to do this.
Real quick.
I want to hit this one. Maybe.
Okay. Halloween.
Yeah.
To close us out.
It's honestly,
the big day is Friday.
Is Kane coming out right now, or is this the Undertaker?
Yeah.
It sounds like the Call of Duty waiting screen.
Maybe
Like
some pyrotechnics.
There he is.
This our outro.
Wait, I thought you were gonna say something like legendary with this music. There's nothing there.
I didn't think that far ahead. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, what the hell was the point of playing the music?
Because it's Halloween music.
Wait, like you're supposed to wake Green Day up when September ends. Wake me up when January ends.
Yep.
Just that's when I'll be back alive.
Well, with that
Season
disappointment.
I will say this season has been scary bad. Now that we're on the Halloween theme.
We
Get it? Scary Halloween.
Yeah,
We should all.
Frighteningly bad.
I get it.
Atlanta United didn't have a ghost of a chance to make the playoffs this year.
Oh man, Henry would be so proud of you right now.
Mhm.
Y'all better come hang out with me at 10:30 for this LAFC game.
I need bed, but I'll stop
The
it.
music is actually kind of hitting. I'm not gonna lie, getting better.